Hello, my name is Ashley Goodnight, and this is my video for my Test 1 wrapper. The most difficult question, aka the question I lost the most points on, was question number 2. In this problem, a large metal ball is hanging motionless from a crane. When the crane malfunctions, the ball drops. Luckily, a safety brake is engaged. Given information about the initial position, 2 forces acting upon the metal ball, and an expression for the drag force, we are asked to complete the GlowScript code in order to predict the ball's motion. The first part of question 2 was about the system properties and initial conditions. We were asked to add the 3 necessary statements to specify the ball's mass and initial conditions. I successfully identified the 3 conditions to program, which are the ball's mass, the ball's initial position, and the ball's initial velocity. Note that both the position and velocity are 3-dimensional vector quantities. I specifically lost points on the second part, the calculation loop. We were instructed to add the necessary statements to determine the net force acting on the ball, as well as update the velocity and position of the ball. I made 3 main errors in my code. The first one was in updating the momentum of the ball. This was never specifically asked for, and I put it before the net force lines, which lost a point. Next was my expression for the drag force. For my direction, I used -j hat, but I never checked that j hat was the same as the direction of the velocity. And in this case, it was not. Finally, I made a mistake updating my velocity, and in turn made a mistake updating my position. I essentially added the initial conditions twice. I incorporated the initial velocity both by adding ball.vel in that line as well as updating the momentum in the previous line. Now, moving on from the error of my ways, let's look at the real answer. This was posted on Canvas. You can access this by going onto Canvas, under Files, then Solutions, then Tests. As you can see, they minimize the lines by keeping the net force, the force of gravity, and the drag force in only one line. Furthermore, they never used momentum, which shortens the code and prevents silly mistakes like mine. You might be wondering how to improve on questions like this. It's difficult because this question only involves variables. We are only given the number 20 as a scaling factor for the drag force. This means you can't just change the values of the entire problem and start over. So, I recommend looking over our past lab assignments. These are another great way to practice programming with VPython and GlowScript. You can also attempt to code other physics problems. For example, try writing a glow script code to calculate the spring force, or try a gravitational potential energy problem. If you are having difficulty thinking up physics examples, try the ones in our group solving problems. With that, I am concluding my presentation. Thank you everyone for watching. I encourage all of you to look over your own mistakes and check them against the Canvas answers.